Hello, listeners, and welcome to Season 10 of the Meet the Mancunian podcast, Social Impact Stories from Manchester. I'm your host, Deepa Thomas-Sutcliffe, offering you a warm Mancunian welcome. I'm delighted to bring you Season 10, where I celebrate social impact community heroes across Manchester. I hope, dear listener, you can learn from their life experiences, the challenges they've overcome, and their passion for their cause. My aim for the Meet the Mancunian podcast is to encourage you to live your life with purpose and impact, inspired by the stories my guests share every Tuesday throughout the season. You can listen to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or my website, meetthemancunian.co.uk. Get ready for another season full of thought-provoking conversations and life-changing stories. Welcome to the 9th episode of Season 10 of the Meet the Mancunian podcast, Social Impact Stories from Manchester. Passionate about sustainable clothing, we hear from Ghada Soliman, founder, Sustainable Threads, in this episode. In Ghada's own words,
we bring the used fabric, and instead of just going to be recycled, we get it in a sustainable thread workshop, helping the women to try to reuse them, redesign them, and create new product.
Thank you so much, Ghada, for joining me today.
Thank you, Deepa. Thank you so much for having me today. It's a pleasure.
Tell us about what sparked your interest in volunteering and supporting the community. Was there a defining moment that shaped that journey?
I'm always being involved in community, working with community, but I had gone through a very serious health condition, which made me stop working for about a year. During this period, it was really good time because I had to pause, reflect about my whole life. What do you do? What do you need to do to give back to the community? So at this moment, I just decided to be involved in community. So I started to do some volunteering work with something called Conversation Cafe, where we get asylum seeker, refugees, women from marginalised communities, and then we're trying to teach them the basic about English and how to being involved more in community. And then I decided this is the time that you need to help the people, because being connected with different people and seeing how they're suffering, the trauma that they've been through since they come to the UK, sometimes it's heartbreaking, and you feel like, the obligation that you need to help them. So I decided to trying to create source of income for them, because most of them, they don't work, especially the women, and because of the status as well. This is new thing that I've learned, because I wasn't too sure what's the difference between the asylum seeker, the refugee. So basically, if you're an asylum seeker in the UK, so you're not allowed to work until you've got the status of refugee. So at this moment, I was just feeling them that don't have any source of income. So I was just trying to create a safe place where they can get them, trying to give them the opportunity to talk, to socialize, and at the same time, trying to teach them new skill.
Thank you so much for sharing about how you got involved in volunteering, because you had that moment to reflect in your personal life. And that is also very relevant because, sometimes we need these life moments to think, what are we spending our time and our energy on, and how can we help? Then tell us about how you got involved with Sustainable Threads and what does it do?
It was really good time, because sometimes you just feel when you have a really hard time in your life, you're just like, this is the end of the world. But honestly, it was a really good moment for myself to just get this reflection and then trying to help people. Sustainable Thread came from being involved in communities, seeing the different communities and different people, especially women, and then see how vulnerable they are. They need some support to create a safe place where they can socialize, where they can practice new skills. Sustainable Thread came because my background is from textile. And I've got my PhD from the University of Manchester in textile technology. And I've got this art sense. So I normally organize some art-based workshop. And I found art-based workshop is very useful, especially when you have a hard time. So doing art and practicing art, it just gives you this relaxation, this relief, and then you be proud of yourself when you just introduce or produce some art thing. So this is where sustainable thread came, my background, and then the purpose of helping community. So mixed them together. And I wasn't too sure how to start, how to get this done. So thanks to In Our Nature Climate Action Agency, I wasn't on the steering group in Our Nature. And then I talked to the people and then I was just like, I've got this idea. Can you help this idea to come to life? So they were very supportive. And then because it's related to climate actions and you need to do something to the environment because it's sustainability. So we try to shape the idea to be like have the social purpose and the environmental purpose. The environmental purpose, we're focusing on the sustainable threads to reuse the fabric. Recycling the textile industry is one of the largest industry in the world that cause pollution. So we're trying to reduce the waste in the landfill by reusing the old fabric. So with the sustainable thread, we tend to take the participant to the swap cloth events, trying to get old clothes. It's all for free. And there is a big textile swap cloth in Moorside. I think it's the third Friday of every month. So you can just go take a large bag and then take in as much as textile that you want. We bring the used fabric, and instead of just going to be recycled, we get it in sustainable thread workshop, helping the women to try to reuse them, redesign them, and create new product. Got really good examples of this because it's like different workshops and every workshop has a theme. The first one, the participant managed to create a pencil case from used fabric. And then we're trying to teach them how to put the zip, how to put the bottom, so basic principles of sewing. Then the second one is creating new top sheet, the bedding sheets, different workshops, different theme. And the basic idea of the workshop to reuse the fabric and instead of just ending by the landfill, trying to reuse it, repurpose it, redesign it. You can just like create a piece of fabric. If you see it, you say, oh, this is really brand new. But when you talk through it, and then you're just like feeling, I've got this from an old t-shirt, this embroidery from another skirt. So you're trying to teach them the principles of sustainability, producing a new product. And then again, in social activity, meeting people from different backgrounds, trying to practice English, trying to be involved in community. So this is the purpose of a sustainable thread.
Really interesting. And I do know that textiles and clothes are a big part of landfill, and
Yeah.
it's really interesting and creative way to repurpose. Other guests have also talked about, for example, repurposing plastic, which is another big cause of
Exactly.
landfill. And how can you create something
Yeah.
new, earrings or a case or other things? What would you say is the obstacles you've had to overcome in your work?
The obstacles, I would say it's about funding. So the main obstacle is funding. I don't know, maybe because I'm just a beginner. So it took me a while to try to get funding for this project. I've got the feeling that I've got really good connection now. And after the first workshop, I tried to put pictures on my LinkedIn, and then I was really amazed because I've got a connection from different parts of the university. So we've got this initiative called Sustainable Futures. So they contact me and then they said, we're very interested about the job that you're doing. How can we help you? So they offered me, after we finished the workshop with the sustainable thread, they offered me that they can organize celebration lunch where we can invite stakeholders and we're trying to talk about the project, about the impact of the project. And then in this case, we can get more funding because the funding that I've got now is just for 1 year. And then all the participants ask me, what will happen after we finish the workshop? So I've just got the feeling like I need to continue this because I'm really amazed about the success we are doing in Sustainable Thread. So I really want this project to be continued. So one of the obstacles, I would say, funding, but I don't see it now as an obstacle as I saw it when I started, because now I feel like I have a good connection with different people, different stakeholders, different communities, and they seem that they all interested in this project. So I feel very positive that this project will continue because the purpose of the project is very meaningful. It's helping community, helping marginalized women, people with a low income. So I feel the purpose and I really want this to be continued. Again, one of the obstacles I would say is the language barrier, because we have participants from different backgrounds, from different cultures. I feel privileged because I'm Egyptian originally, so I speak Arabic. So most of the participants will be from Syria, from Palestine, from different Arab regions. So I feel positive because I can communicate sometimes with the language. But for example, we've got participants from Iran, from Pakistan. So I always struggle to understand their needs. Sometimes you can find one of the participants, they can't speak two languages. If we can get more funding to get interpreters to help them to be understood more, that will be really a privilege. Obstacles as well about the community because they're very niche community and very vulnerable. So you need to be very careful in terms of timing, in terms of their circumstances, because mostly they would be women who are looking after children. So sometimes they drop one or two class. So you need to be very patient and you need to be like, okay, don't worry about it. You can come to the next session and then we briefing you. But sometimes, because I always bring facilitator and then you pay them. So sometimes it's not working like this, but I'm trying my best to be patient and to accommodate their needs. I think you need to understand the community, to be very patient and looking for more funds to summarize the obstacles that I think I've been facing since I started.
Thank you so much for sharing that. We do hear funding as a challenge for almost all
Yeah,
community organizations, and especially also, like you said, long term funding, because
yeah,
that allows a project to continue
exactly.
beyond that first year or first phase, because these women have multicultural backgrounds. So, how do you provide them with instructions in a way that they can digest it,
Yeah.
regardless of their command for English? And also being understanding of their circumstances, whether it be children or being a carer. How do you adapt the curriculum so that they can still meaningfully participate, but keeping in mind the circumstances? What would you say is the impact you made so far? I know Sustainable Threads is new, but it looks like you're making a good impact since you're getting good support. So tell us more about that.
The impact of sustainable thread now, or not just the sustainable thread, maybe the other initiatives that I'm involved in. I think the first one, you see the social impact and the communication impact within the participant. I feel this kind of workshops and initiative, it will bring people together. It will bring different background, different cultures, and then you put them in one place, which is really amazing when you see the way that they connect to each other, socialize, telling stories. They make it fun. I think those women, they need this safe place where they can speak to other, maybe in their own language in English. So I would say, can you speak in English? Because I just want to develop the language, which is really important. So you create this space for them to communicate. So I would say the social impact, this is one of the most important impact that I've seen in sustainable thread or other initiative that I'm involved in. Environmental impact, because the main purpose of sustainable thread, it's environmental. So how to save the environment. Most of those women, they coming from background where they don't have the sufficient education background, so you need to teach them this is not good for the environment. Maybe we wouldn't notice this during our life, but maybe this will be like impact for our children, grandchildren. So do you want to save the environment for your grandchildren? And
Mm.
then you need to teach them in a very simple way what will happen after we just put the fabric and the textile in the landfill. What is the impact of the fast fashion in our community? So they don't know those terminologies, fast fashion. So you need to like teach them and then give them examples from real life. Those companies are using very bad materials. They use plastic. This is why they are very cheap. So we don't want to go for this. So you need to teach them about the fast fashion and the different brands, what they're using. And this is very harmful, not for just the environment, for your skin. Imagine the allergy that you've got after you wearing like 90% of the fabric is plastic. Why these products are cheap? Because one, two, three. So you need to teach them this. So I would say environmental impact, one of the main impacts about this project as well. I think we taken the opportunity for this project to introduce this for them. And so the main impact that I've seen so far, the social and environmental impacts for sustainable threads.
There is a twin purpose. There is the safe space. There is them potentially getting some income or utility out of it, but also the ability to find like minded
Yes.
people and feel
Yeah.
supported and really helping to reduce landfill because it's just so easy. I try to then throw things away, give them to charity, but
Yeah.
this is even better if you can
Mm,
repurpose it into
exactly.
something important. Of
Charity.
course.
Sometimes when you think that you give the clothes to the charity, most of the clothes that you're giving to the charity, unfortunately, they go to the landfill because most of them, they are not like ready to go and then put them on the shops. Really, I would say like maybe 10% of them, they're just like being in the shop and then people can use them.
Mm.
Sometimes when you give to the charity, unfortunately, some people, they just give really clothes in a bad condition. So when you
Mm.
give it to the charity shops, they wouldn't bother to like purposing them or redesigning them. So it
Mm.
will end up by the landfill. So redesigning and reusing, repurposing, one of the most important targets of just giving them to the charity and you don't know what will happen after that. One of the main purpose of this project is creating, even if it's low income, creating a safe place for those ladies. They can work from home when you teach them the sewing principles. It doesn't mean that they need to go and work in a factory or work in the textile industry. This is something can be done from home. This is why I was insisting about this project, because if you provide a sewing machine for any lady in her spare time, when the children go to sleep, when they are out in the school, do this during those hours, and then they can create source of income. And the purpose of this project as well, I didn't mention at the beginning, that project also funded by, we call it now, so the Fashion Retail Lab from the University of Manchester managed to secure some seed fund. So they will help us to run another 4 or 5 workshop at the university. And then I think it would be a very good opportunity to meet with people working in academia, in industry, sustainable thread. It will create opportunity for them to join a job after they finish. So this is what I'm trying to do with the sustainable thread, to link them with unity, link them with the stakeholders who are not saying, thank you, the workshop is finished, and then you can just go by yourself. No, we need to follow up with them. And I promised some of them when we finish the workshop, I can provide some sewing machine for you. So in
Mm.
this case, we can create a place for them where they can create the income. So one of the impact as well, creating opportunities, job opportunities, income for those women after they finish the course.
Really important because livelihoods, this is what they will be looking for, especially because they'll be potentially struggling in that initial period. What is something people often misunderstand about your field? Is there any misunderstandings you would like to myth bust?
I think that the misunderstanding will be coming initially from the workshop and the purpose of the project. And the purpose of the workshop, it's teaching them the sustainability, the social impact and stuff like that, and creating jobs. So I would, the misunderstanding, are you getting the women to give them jobs? or are you teaching them? So it's two of them. So it's win-to-win strategy, to be honest. So the first strategy is teaching them and then trying to create job opportunities. This is for them. This is the win strategy for them. For us, will be very proud that we teaching them about helping environments. The research purpose will be see the impact of teaching those women different aspects of the sustainability. This will be making sometimes confusion. What is the real purpose of the project? But when you start to explain it to the people, they were just like, we see what you're talking about and we see your point.
I think it's like you said, communication is so important to
Exactly.
explain because otherwise people may have different perceptions, different
Mhm.
misunderstandings.
Yeah.
So thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah, I would say advertising as well, advertising communication. I think I need to enhance this because I'm not really the expert of the media and stuff like that. For me, I will just post the photos on LinkedIn or maybe my Instagram. But I think I need to focus more on this, creating a website, make it visible, trying to advertise about your job because the more you advertise, the more connection that you can get, the more funding. So it's very important. It's the time we live now. It's all about advertising. It's all about you be known to the people. Maybe after this podcast, we will get more volunteers or more funding. You never know, but it's about how to sell yourself or how to sell the product. I would say sustainable thread, it's a product at the end of the day. So how to make this visible to everyone because it's really good purpose.
Listeners from over 70 countries, how did
Yeah.
they get started?
I would advise them, first of all, you need to have a vision, you need to have an idea. It doesn't matter to be a complete idea because my idea at the beginning, it wasn't sustainable thread. It was about something different. It was about natural dyes and how to use natural dyes. It's again within the textile, but it was a different purpose. But when I pitch my idea to different stakeholders, I found maybe I need to tweak it. So I would advise people if they have really simple idea, it doesn't matter to be this idea, maybe they need to be flexible, they need to change it as they go. So you need to go to more stakeholders, you need to pitch your idea to different audience and then get the feedback. Don't be offended if someone's saying, oh, I don't think that your idea is a good idea. You need to have this persistence and you need to have this mind like, I need to tweak it, I need to be flexible. I would say just follow your passion, follow your dream. If you believe about an idea that it will make a difference, just stick to it. It doesn't matter how many times you pitch your idea and then you get refused, just be persistent and try to follow your dream and follow your passion. Second thing that I would say, be connected with different people, try to network and try to attend different events, meeting people, talk to people. I've got this from this entrepreneur workshop that I attended at the university. It was for 2 months and I wasn't too sure. It was after my sick leave straight away. And I was a bit like confused which idea, but I need to help the community. This was the purpose. And then I spoke to the organizers and then they told me, just go to events, speak to people. They said, the more that you go to different events, the more you speak to the people, you will get feedback. You will get some new ideas. They will help you. So at the beginning, I'll just go to any network and I just stood, I don't want to speak, but when you engage with people, when you're trying to explain to them your idea, they would help you. Really, it's very good advice and I would advise it to the people. You just be everywhere. Go to different networking, speak to people and get their advice because when you meet the expertise, they will advise you. And then because they see it from a different angle, because sometimes you're very passionate about the idea and sometimes it doesn't make sense. But when you get this advice, it will help you to continue and it will help you to reshape it or repurpose in the way that you can get funding. Thirdly, I would advise people to be more friendly, to be open, especially if you want to work with marginalized community and refugees. They are very vulnerable. So if you are like this type of person that you're not good in communication, try to be more connected, try to be a good listener. because they would appreciate if you listen to their stories instead of just being like, no, I'm not going to listen to this, I'm not going to waste my time. Be kind, be friendly, because you never know what life throws to you. So sometimes life is too short and you need to just speak to people and be kind to them.
Thank you. All very good pieces of advice. I like them a lot. Having that clear vision, but being adaptable by taking other people's points of view and input, going to different events and
Yes.
meeting new people and
Mhm.
reshaping your ideas, and then being kind and being a good listener. This works in all contexts. You don't need to be in the charity sector or the community sector. People really appreciate those good listeners who show interest and take their perspective on board. An opportunity now for you to talk about anything I haven't asked you about, maybe something coming up for Sustainable Threads.
I would love to speak about the opportunities that will come for sustainable threads. Tomorrow will be the fifth workshop. So we have three workshops to go, and then we will have more four workshop or five workshop at the university. The good opportunity now that we've been offered for sustainable thread, that the university sustainable future will help us to do this celebration lunch where we can the stakeholder will help us for the repair cafe, and in our nature as well they will organize a repair cafe where we invite people from public. It would be for free, so we're inviting the people. If you want to, for example, shorten your trouser or very small stuff and mending your clothes or
Mm.
the participants, hopefully they will have the good knowledge and good experience at that time, so they would help them to repair their own clothes. I think this will be a good opportunity for participants to practice their knowledge and then see the final product. And this one as well remind me last workshop. I bought like a trouser and I was a bit like tool. So I told the lady in the sustainable thread workshop, would you be able to shorten it? Because it was really like maybe second or third workshop. And she was really enthusiastic. And then I'll do it for you for free. And I was just like, okay, thank you. So this kind of stuff, that would be good opportunity for sustainable thread, because you're creating a small scale for them to practice the techniques that they've been learned. Repair Cafe is coming very soon. So we are planning to do two Repair Cafe, one in Easter time and one in summertime. Whereas the holidays will be family events, introducing this project to the community, trying to create job opportunities.
Very interesting. The repair cafe sounds like a great
Yeah.
idea. I'll now move to the signature questions I ask all my guests. What makes Manchester a unique place for social impact work?
Manchester is very close to my heart. I really love this city. And I feel Manchester is a multicultural city. When I first came to the UK, I felt Manchester is my home because you see people from different backgrounds, people from different cultures, and they really understand the culture. They really appreciate people from different backgrounds. So in Manchester, especially, but I feel it like home. So you don't feel like you're a stranger, you're not foreigner. People, when I first came here, they very supportive. They will encourage you to speak. They will encourage you to do whatever you want. For example, for us, you'll find halal food everywhere. You are not a stranger, you're not foreigner, because especially people coming from different background, different culture, when they come to a new city or a new place, they will feel like the culture shock. Fortunately, I didn't feel culture shock in Manchester. It's my home, it's my second home. So I feel Manchester is the best place for social impact because people understand, as I said, different background, different culture. So it's very easy and it's very supportive place if you want to look about the social impact, people from different backgrounds. So I think it's the best place.
I do agree. It's very warm and welcoming. I've
Yeah.
been here about 4 years, and I do feel like that's how I've met so many, over 120 guests now. It's because of this warm and welcoming
Yeah.
community that has introduced me to other people as well. So I do
And
agree,
the respect as well is very important.
definitely. If you could have dinner with any historical figure in Manchester, who would it be with and why?
Maybe I would say Alan Turing, because this guy was really like, I'm very fascinated about the job that he's been doing in terms of computing, in terms of community. So I would choose Alan Turing to have a dinner and then see how amazing it was. And because I'm very fascinating about technology, so I would choose Alan Turing. Yeah.
Great pick. I think that would be
Yeah.
a very interesting dinner. I'd love to hear about
Yeah.
it. If you were to create a social impact superhero, what powers would they have and what cause would they fight for?
I think the cause will be about the EDI, more about the equality, diversity, and inclusion. We've been doing a very great job about this recently, but I think we need more. We need superpower to involve everyone in life because I believe that everyone in the community, they should have dignity, they should have respect, they should have a fair opportunity. It doesn't matter your background, it doesn't matter your culture. At the end of the day, you are human and you live in the community. So you need to have your rights. You need to have equal opportunity. You need to have a place where you can learn new skills and get opportunity in the community. So I would say this will be the purpose. More focusing about EDI, more focusing about creating more opportunities, equality in the community.
That is very interesting. And again, something very close to my heart, which is EDI and giving everybody respect and treating everybody as you would like to be treated. Not
Exactly.
what's the most important life lesson you've learned so far?
That's really a good question. Life lesson, I would say being more resilient because again, sometimes life throw things to you. You're not happy with it at the beginning. It will cause trauma. Being more acceptable, resilient, that nothing happens just like for no reason. I think like sometimes God puts you in a situation, it might change your whole life. This is what happened to me. I was really faced a very big challenge and it was like, turning point in my life. At the beginning, I didn't accept it. And sometimes you just, when you think carefully, things happen for a reason. This lesson taught me that I need to be more resilient. I need to accept anything that life brings to you and then how to be like more productive, how to overcome this problem. So this is one of the lessons that I think, and I advise everyone to, I think it's difficult at the moment. Sometimes you just have this mental block. My life is ended now, and I don't think that I will have a purpose in life. But sometimes things happen and they give you the power. It give you like maybe changing your way of thinking, changing the way to communicate with people. Also, I would say be kind. Smile sometimes make a huge difference. And sometimes you don't know the other person, what's their journey, what they've been through. So even smile to them that might like changing their mood, changing their way of thinking. Be kind, smile, being resilient, and live your life. Be happy.
I like that very much. That resilience, like you said, it's something that's a constant lesson, right? You have to adapt to new challenges which may surface,
Yeah.
but also, like you said, be kind and being
Yeah.
happy is
Right.
really important because it comes from a little bit of also accepting the situation. Okay, it's happened
Yeah.
now, you can't change it.
Right.
How do
Yeah.
you now find a new way forward? I do agree. And it's something I've had to learn many hard lessons, but it's good. I think it's made me a kinder person, perhaps slightly more emotionally intelligent
Yeah.
as well.
Mm.
How can interested people learn more, or how can interested people reach out to you or learn more? Where can they find you on social media?
We are in a process now to create a website for sustainable threads. So finger crossed that will be ready maybe in a couple of weeks. People can reach me through my LinkedIn, Ghada Soliman, my email address, soliman@manchester.ac.uk. And then they can find us in Ascension Church, where we do the Sustainable Thread workshops, Ascension Church in Hugh. This is the way that people can reach us. We are looking for more volunteers if anyone is interested to come and see what we're doing. Community funders, anyone is welcome to come and see us.
Thank you for sharing that, and I'll make sure it's in my show notes. Is there a funny or a heartwarming story you'd like to share with listeners? Maybe something from the workshops?
The funny thing that it happened, I think it was the second or third workshop. where I brought my trouser to be short, and I didn't want to mention this, but it was like a brand new one. I didn't use it, so I was just like, okay, shall I just bring it to ask one of the ladies or one of the participants to make it for me? And the lady was really into it. And then she said, oh, I'll do it, I'll do it. And then straight away, she cut the trouser. And then the facilitator was just, oh, no, you need to, oh my God. Thankfully, she didn't cut too much. So we had the opportunity to fix it. But I saw she was so excited. I'll do it. I'll do it. So she was super confident. And then she thought that I'll do it straight away. And then I said, we need to mark it. And she said, no, I'm very confident. So that was like one of the funniest stories. But thankfully,
It had a good ending in the end, isn't it?
yeah.
You could save it. Thank you so much, Ghada. It's been
Deepak, thank
fascinating
you
to
so
hear
much.
about your story.
Thanks for having me today.
Ghada, I really enjoyed learning about supporting sustainable clothing today. Dear listener, thank you so much for listening to the ninth episode of the Meet the Mancunian podcast, Season 10. I hope today's episode has inspired you to make positive change wherever you live. Tune in every Tuesday for a new episode or log on to meetthemancunian.co.uk to listen to all the episodes and learn more about my podcasting story. Next week on Tuesday, 22nd April 2025, I speak to Zoe Marlowe about food poverty. It's wonderful to hear from you, dear listener. You can share your story or send me a message on my website, meetthemancunian.co.uk, or on social media at the rate Meet the Mancunian on Instagram, Facebook, and Blue Sky, and at the rate Meet the Mancunian podcast on YouTube. Thank you to my wonderful community of listeners. Remember, your voice, your stories, and your actions matter. Share this episode with someone who needs to hear it, and let's inspire even more positive change. To a better, kinder world, and until next time, let's continue making Manchester and beyond a place of greater impact, compassion, and action.